Oh yeah, coffee with Carm. My first time ever doing this, and I couldn't do it with a better person than my friend Greg Buckley out of Buckley's down there in Delaware. Hi, Greg.
Hey, Carm, how are you?
Good. You know, we would every once in a while, like monthly, just say, "Hey, can you talk?" And we do some Saturdays. You were out. You used to go walking, and I think you were on the phone with me, and we were just chatting about
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And
just
and
just everything
I'd
in
get
general.
coffee, and you'd get walking.
Right, right. It was a good combination because I had
Yeah.
my coffee a little bit earlier and got myself geared up and got out for a walk and then give you a shout. So
8 o'clock.
it's
You forced me to get up early on Saturdays.
you come on, you're up at 5 a.m. every day, if not
Yeah,
sooner.
I know, scary, isn't it? Oh my
It
God. Hey,
is.
we're gonna have some fun.
So
We're gonna talk about some really cool and different things today. Basically, just think about yourself having coffee with a friend, and sometimes maybe you just go to a Starbucks and you sit back in a leather chair and you talk stuff. And it just could be family, it could be work, it could be business, it could be relationships, it could be anything. And that's kind of what I want to do here with Greg. I don't really want
mhm.
to make this a remarkable results radio podcast or anything, but we are talk radio for the aftermarket, and so we just love to do this. And it's our first time with this kind of format, with a friend like Greg coming on and just chatting with us. So by the way, we do. Oh, by the way, Greg has his coffee. I have my coffee. Greg,
There we
this
go.
happens to be. I'm a Keurig fiend. I'm sorry because I drink so much. Sorry. And this happens to be Newman's Organic in here. I do love it. And the neat thing about having that, not the pot's not sitting and getting, burnt, is
Yeah.
that I can have a fresh cup, maybe 3 or 4 times a day.
Okay, I can understand. I mean,
Cut me some slack.
I've gone from yeah, I, Keurigs is just like okay, the
All right.
plastic around everything, but I think
Yeah.
that do you have the actual cups or do you use the filters, the environmentally more friendlier version of the Keurig cup?
The answer would be no. Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. But
uh,
anyway, here's the deal. I want to give away a coffee mug today. And here's how you do it. Anywhere in any of the chats on YouTube, on Facebook, type in the word coffee. And if you type in the
Simple as
word
that.
coffee at the end of the show, I'm going to actually show you. We're going to, depending on how many people typed in coffee, the software is automatically going to pick someone.
Ah,
And
nice.
then, and hopefully I know you, and or you're going to still hang on, and I'll say, email me carm@remarkableresults.biz and say hi. I'll need your address so I can ship you your Remarkable Results coffee mug. Anyway, you're here, bud.
Yeah.
What are your customers talking to you about EVs?
Really, I can't say a hell of a lot. I mean, we haven't really reached that point in my market yet where EVs are getting more saturated.
Hang
Is
on 1 minute.
uh,
I got to stop you right there. To all of our
okay.
great friends on Facebook that are with us, you can't put coffee exclamation mark. You can't put coffee exclamation exclamation exclamation. It just has to be coffee. Okay, go ahead,
I
Greg.
try to. It's all right,
Don't
but
break the rules.
the funny thing is that we've had a few customers jump over to the EV world. Two in particular that went from ICE to EV, and my sister recently jumped into the EV fold with her new Nissan. So we get a little bit of a look of it. We've had two or three service events with the EVs. I think they were all yeah, all Teslas.
Okay.
But that's about as far as we're going right now. I mean, have we approached the market like we should have? No, we haven't. I mean, that's something that we can plan for towards the end of the year. But in general, we're just sticking with what we got with ICE and growing markets from that
How many
traditional.
hybrids? How many hybrids a month are you working on?
Um, let's see. It's all a lot of Prius, of course, and
Yeah.
I'd have to percentage wise, I couldn't give you that figure, but I
20,
know that
30.
yeah,
Are you
I'd say
saying
about
20?
about 10 to 15 Carm in
Okay.
general,
All right.
and that's growing a little bit more as the new models come out. We're seeing more different versions. We have an older Ford Escape hybrid that we service. In general though, it's the Priuses that we see. So
Yeah. I don't know why, Greg, but I just feel that the hybrid's going to be, I think, that car of the future for people that want a little electricity. They want to feel that they're
Yeah,
doing something good for the environment, but they
I
also
think so
say, "Hey,
too.
listen,
Yeah.
I'm heading out to to Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I know I got a plan." And oh, by the way,
Yeah.
that's so interesting. Did you hear that Ford is going to use the Tesla chargers?
Yeah, yeah, they're sending out all kinds of the adapters for the superchargers, and I think it's a wise move. I mean, you've got
Yeah.
one platform. Tesla has integrated itself with a lot of the fast food, or I should say, the quick stop convenience stores. So they're all lined up, and why would you want to reinvent the wheel and create all that confusion in the marketplace? So smart, I think smart move.
I completely agree. If you're with us
Yeah.
and just joining us, we're giving a coffee mug away at the end. Type in the word coffee and only coffee in the
Mhm.
Facebook comments. Appreciate it. Hey, if you have any questions for Greg or I, you want to make a comment on anything we say, that would be great.
Yeah, we're
So,
here live, and so
yeah,
whatever you throw at us, we're gonna do
yeah,
what we
we're
need to
gonna.
do.
There's a Greg looking great. You have a really good fan out there. It
That's
looks like he.
Mike
Yeah,
Dela Cruz. He texts me, and I'm looking at my watch. Mike, thank you very much. I am trying to keep,
you shaved this morning.
I did. I had to look good. We're going live, and
Oh my
now
God,
next
that's
is
too funny.
to get buffed out and
All
ready for
right,
my summer thing, which I
buffed
started,
out.
by the way, by the polar plunge, which was great.
Oh, really?
We jumped in the Atlantic Ocean at 40 degrees, um, and it was let's put it this way: it came out a little smaller and was speaking in a higher tone. So it was cold. It was chilly. So it was a lot of fun. Um, the whole organization, I think we raised, well, I say we, but the organization raised over 1.5 million, and we had a record 4,300 people down on the shore down in Rehoboth. Now for Buckley's, we raised $2,800 within a month, a little over a month's time, from a lot of friends and family, and even some colleagues out there. And so, I really want to say thank you very much for that. It was a great time, team building. Store in Wilmington, the store in Millsboro, we got together, and there I put some videos up that was a lot of fun. So we had some great time.
This 1.5 million, whatever you say, is that just for this one event, or has it been a
Yeah,
lifetime?
just for the one event. Yeah, and
Whoa!
that was for the state of Delaware. And what I found out was really cool because I didn't know this, but in Delaware, Delaware is the only state in the nation that sends Special Olympians for free. There's no charge if you're a Special Olympian to participate in the Special Olympics. So that was something that was really pretty cool. I
Huh.
didn't know that. That was announced, and I found out at the day of the event. But if you go online and you check out my page, or just go Delaware Olympics or Delaware Special Olympics, and Polar Plunge, you'll see how these events are ran. It's very well coordinated. There are not only divers present. There's the Coast Guard, and you're protected, or you are much safer going in the water. There's no mishaps. And this one here, there was a rip tide and a very short shelf. So they told us we could only go into our knees. You can jump, you could, lower yourself into the water and get the full experience is what we did, but you were only allowed to go up to your knees because of the rip tide. So there's a lot of safety involved. And then of course, you're the local stores and restaurants and all that are open, and Wawa was the primary sponsor, so they gave away free coffee and some towels and swag and all that stuff. So, what a really great, well ran event.
You go up to your knees. It was part of the requirement that you had to sit into the water?
You didn't have to, but we did. I mean, I
Okay,
wasn't going to do all this just to get my knees wet.
right.
I'm
That's what I'm
my
thinking.
son-in-law, yeah, my son-in-law and my service advisor from Millsboro, and myself. We all just jumped in and got wet,
Cool.
just to
All
the
right,
hell with
okay.
it.
I mean, that's the lure or the fun part is to
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
just get cold.
Yeah, get cold. I mean, it's just seconds, really. And then honestly, once you're in that water, and we were fortunate because the air temperature and the water temperature were the same. So it wasn't a
Ah,
matter of you getting warmer or colder. You're outside, and 15 minutes before you're supposed to jump, you take off what you want to take off,
yeah, yeah.
and you get acclimated. So
Well, hey,
Yeah, cool.
glad to have the people with us this morning. This was kind of a, if you will, an impromptu thing, something that I'd love to do monthly with people inside the industry, Coffee with Carm. We're going to give away a coffee mug. Just type in the word coffee in your comments. And at the end, you'll see this really cool magic machine start selecting people and pick uh, who's going to get the coffee mug. So, Greg,
Hmm.
how do you take the legacy of Buckley's and move it to your second store?
Cross your fingers, say a few prayers.
Stop.
You know, no. It's really something. I mean, you just lean on your experience and you put in place the things that you have done at your primary location. And this is for those that are just starting out like I am. I mean, it's still a work in progress, but what I can tell you is that if you're well rooted in shop number one and your base location, taking that to another location is not that difficult. In that context, meaning that if your principles are there and your processes are there and all that, you can easily move to a second location. And those that are doing much more than just two locations are certainly finding out. But always along the way, there's variables. You really need to know the dynamics of that location, meaning that what's around you, what's going to change. If I had to be succinct, you're always doing a SWOT analysis in that second location until you get the get things rolling, and then and the things calm down. But the first thing is if you're well rooted, number one. Number two really isn't that bad.
I have to tell you, you just nailed something that is so near and dear to my heart is a
Hmm.
SWOT analysis. And I am not sure we as an industry, and I mean particular as shop owners, are doing this project with our own team at least once a year.
Hmm.
And the thing that listen, I did this a long time ago in corporate America. I see so much value in a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But what I do know is that owners can't do it. They can't lead it. The people may not talk to them when the tough stuff needs to be talked about. And sometimes they filter the information that's coming out and they're not really capturing the essence of what people are talking about because they don't want to deal with what could be a weakness inside of their own company. But to your point, can you be objective? You probably can in certain instances, but it's always great to have someone else, say your coach, say a mentor,
Hmm.
say a peer that you know in the industry to do a SWOT. And so I started to think, since I love SWOT so much, is to get a team together of industry pundits and do a SWOT on the industry.
I, I believe that that would almost be impossible
It would
because
be
there's just
it could
so.
be enlightening. Yes, you're right, it could be impossible, but you'd have to go after a certain segment of it and just
It
is so
it
I
would never. I know what you're getting at, and I think that yeah, it would be like a dream. But I'm looking at all of the
but
groups that are out there
but
with
Greg,
all of
there's
the
no
opinions.
perfection in anything that you do today.
Nothing. Absolutely. Well, that's
There's always color to anything that anyone well, that can't be the way it is. Don't think black and white, think in color. If you
oh
get a couple of things given to you from a SWOT on the industry that doesn't pertain to your world or your life, you let it go, but some may, and it could be enlightening.
yeah, but I still think of how many. It'd be such a crowded house, and so many voices that how would you possibly get
Well,
a
I
true.
I wouldn't put 30 people in a room, I'd put 4 or 5.
No, but yeah, but there's 4 or 5. I don't.
I
I don't.
understand they
Okay,
may have laser focus, but you do 3 or 4 or 5 of these, then you pull it all together.
this is where the Irish cream come into the coffee.
Oh, you're killing me.
Mhm.
It's always great to have friends that challenge your think. I love it. It's
Plus,
all
that's
right.
what this is all about, right? I mean,
Yeah,
we're
exactly right. Yeah. Are you crazy? You're crazy. Are you killing me? Yeah. And that's the kind of relationship that we've always had. Don't forget, we're giving away a remarkable results coffee mug. Type in the word coffee in the comments. We are talk radio for the automotive aftermarket. So, Greg,
Hmm.
can we be a
Can we do what?
can we be a
Irish cream is
functioning
already
member
there.
of society without a smartphone or the internet?
I think you can be. It'd be a hell of a challenge, but you know who does it quite well? Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken. You know the guy
I love
who
him.
like to
I
talk
love him
like
as an actor.
yeah, yeah. It's he makes a point. He doesn't even carry a cell phone. And I'm sure that he has people around him that take all the notes and do all that for him, but
Yeah.
he literally has stated, I've seen interviews where he doesn't have any of that. He does, I don't understand it, I don't need it. He's New Yorker. I don't even think he owns a car, doesn't need to. So why does he have that baggage? And so if he can do it, others can too. I definitely believe that there's points in time when you need to throw that stuff away or at least put it away, that kind of stuff. So,
Really?
yeah. And real quick,
Mindless
yeah,
mindless
mindless.
scrolling? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, how much time do come on? You wake up in the morning and you want to see what's going on, and you're reading your emails. I don't care how much is. You can measure your time on these things. Get your weekly reports like I do, and are you up 15%? Are you down 4%? That kind of stuff. Turn your apps off. You definitely need to break away from our devices. As easy as that is to say, and as hard as that's to do,
Mhm.
I think you really have to regulate yourself, because you can go down a bunch of rabbit holes. You can be overwhelmed with information. Like too much information is just as bad as not enough, because you start to you don't know which direction to take, and then you become more confused. And I find that a lot of people in general, just not shop owners and technicians and all that stuff, they hear opinion after opinion after opinion, and they don't really recognize what their own self is. And I've said it before: if you don't know yourself, you're going to have a hard time, making your mind up on everything. So it's yeah, I think it can be done. I really do.
Amazing.
It'd be a hell of a challenge.
Thank you for your input. We had a question here. Do you pull staff from your first
Mm.
location or hire all new staff?
Oh, it's you hire all new staff. I mean, when you start to take away from your productive shop and then you subtract people from one to bring them down there, in my case, that just wasn't
But
possible.
you had a distance to travel,
Yeah,
what, an hour and a
we've got
half?
it's 85 miles. So, you got to you have to recruit uh all the time. That's like anything else. And now what we do is we'll take, Scott will come down once a week and he'll manage the teams, make sure they stay on point. Excuse me. My sister Michelle will come down too. She manages inventory and administration, so she takes that side. And a day or two at the location, and we're strengthening the processes that we have in Wilmington, and plus the team members get to see a different, a different person, besides myself, that I'm there. And we have the advantage that we've got the apartment, excuse me, the penthouse, right above the shop.
All right, guys, we've
So
done shows with him on the penthouse. He's actually given us a tour of this
yeah,
gorgeous apartment that sits above his second location.
yeah, it's great. It makes it very easy. Well, it made the deal. Let's put it that way. And then it makes it incredibly easy to have personnel just come down for a day.
Yeah,
Like Scott he'll spend a day. He'll come down and be there by 9, and he'll leave and be home in Wilmington by 5.
yeah.
And in that course of the action, I'm able to focus on business matters while he can manage the shop and groom. Really, the important thing is he's grooming the 2 advisors that we have with us in the models that
Yeah.
we have up here. And,
Got it.
I'm not going to promote it, but we're with Elite. So Elite has its ways, and we've really flourished with that format. So now we're taking the second team and making sure that they follow the same pathways and do the
Sure.
same things and same techniques. Same with the technicians. So
Okay, let me listen. You're a wise guy, been around a long time. Let me change the question up a bit. The
mhm,
location that you're going to open, your third, happens to be 8 miles from your current Wilmington location.
mhm.
To answer that question for our for who asked it, would you groom people so that you could at least put someone over there that knows the culture and can manage the processes for you right away?
Yeah, I think that, well, I should back up because what we did prior to opening number two, not prior, during the first part of it, we took our advisor, our lead advisor down there, and he worked with Scott in Wilmington for 1 month prior to
Ah,
him being full time down
okay.
there.
The distance
Um,
was the issue, and I get that. Okay.
yeah, but 8 mile, yeah, we would have somebody in place that at least knew 70% of what we do, and we would probably hire somebody who is close to that level, and then we add, and then we do the same thing. We would repeat what we did in Millsboro in any other location.
Did we put up Tommy and Nicholson's quote?
I saw that.
It was
Yeah.
so cool, making the world
Yeah.
a
Well,
safer place from
grumpy
grumpy
people.
morning
Well,
people.
it's funny because
Yes.
Tommy and I have been talking during the week. Tommy, I think I have, I think I got my rebate checks ready for you because Tommy has rebatechecks.com and does a fabulous job. I can't thank him enough for his retention program. So it's a
Sure.
shout out to you, Tom. But we were talking this week, so it was pretty funny. He's here now.
All right. Greg,
Yeah,
can you drink coffee and then go to sleep?
yeah,
Me
I can.
too. Me
Yeah,
too. It doesn't
yeah.
keep me up.
No, no, it gets me going. I mean, I'll have this for that'll be my intake for the day. And if I'm at dinner or something and I decide to have a cup of coffee, it doesn't affect me. You
It
know.
doesn't. I have a coffee cup
Mm.
wherever I go, and anybody's ever
Yeah,
watched
for
me do a
you,
show, they're
yeah,
always watching me drink, and
yeah.
we record usually every day at the convenience of our guest.
Now let me
Okay.
ask you this:
Yeah.
wait a minute, what kind of coffee is in that Keurig?
All kinds. I mean, I have all different
Mm,
kinds, but the one that I'm drinking is Newman's Organic.
oh, that's right. You said Newman's
Yeah,
Organic.
Newman's
I switched
Organic.
over to Lavazzo coffee.
I tried that.
When I was
I
in,
couldn't drink it.
well, it was okay. So I like different ways of drinking coffee. Right. It's just not about the grind. But when Patty and I and our friends were over in Europe this year and we cruised over there, and we went to Italy. You've never been to Italy, have you,
Oh, no, I'm so
Okay,
upset.
so I hate to rub that in, Carm, but yeah, we were in Italy, and
You're
so
killing me.
it's on purpose. So,
Because my daughter's
but
gonna go there on her honeymoon,
there you
and
go, there you
yeah,
go.
I know.
So I got hooked on Lavazzo. I was really a Starbucks guy, right? The Starbucks blonde is what it was called, and it's still good
Yeah,
coffee, right? The
yeah,
lighter,
good.
now the lighter the grind, or later the roast, the more caffeine you have in it. So it's a little bit more of a punch with the lighter roast. But Lavazzo was on the ship and in most of the restaurants. And I just said, "Man, this tastes great." I don't know what it was doing. So, of course, I came back. I had to buy an espresso maker, and I had to do the whole Italian thing, the whole Europe thing.
How about what'd you
Um,
spend on the espresso maker?
I you know, Amazon had them on sale for like $109. So
What?
I bought, yeah, yeah, and they're good. It's a good, decent machine. It's not like it's some fancy. It's not restaurant style, but look, for $109, I bought one for the house. I bought each for the shop, one for each of the shop, and I bought one for the penthouse. So
Did you make normal coffee with it too?
you can, well, no, not really. No, it's an espresso machine all the time. It's full time. You can't make regular coffee with it.
Damn.
Yeah, I got that. It's like I said, it's very simple. And you do a double shot. You add a little bit of cream. You froth the cream. It's just, it's good. It's good. So I
All right.
fall in love
Hey,
with these different ways. But
I gotta ask about French press in a minute, but we've
mhm.
got when you're watching us live here today on Facebook, I think there's a button you got to press that you can put in your name, because if not, we in the studio here we only see you as a Facebook user. I do know that Keith Perkins, Kim Auernheimer, David Boyd, all with us. And if you want to win that coffee mug, and all of a sudden the words Facebook user comes up, we're going to be stuck as to who it
Right.
really is. So
I mean,
try to
I
figure
can't
out
see
how
anybody. Keith Perkins
how
and
to get
Kim?
your name on there. There's a comment section you should be able to see.
Mm.
I believe there's a comment section that you can see.
Oh, I see him. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
see it?
Yeah.
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 There's all the anyway. So French press. I
Mhm.
had a boss once who that's all he did, and I just the whole way of doing it looks so cool. And so tell me about French press.
Well, the French got to make things so romantic looking and eloquent.
Yes.
You're going to have this, but the French press. How did I get started on that? A long time ago. Now, again, it's when I travel. It's when I travel. I get to try these different ways and methods. Thank God I don't have a brewery, because I'd be dangerous. But it was back in 2015 or 14, I think the old team from Demand Force had invited me out to be their guest and see their headquarters. So we're in San Francisco, and my wife and I are staying at this boutique hotel called the Rose in Pleasanton, I think it was, right across from San Fran. So in the room, they had a French press, and I looked at it, I go, okay, what's that all about? And I looked at it and I said, well, I'll try it. Well, man, again, new to me. I fell in love with it. It's not complicated. You fill it up. You got the hot water. You brew your hot water like in a tea tank, and then pour it in, let it settle, and then you press
Right.
down. You press
But
the
what's the
grinds
timing? What's
down.
the timing of the grounds that are just kind of hanging out in the hot water?
Well, it all depends on how you want it to, how fast you want it to go. Like you could let it sit for, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and
Okay.
then press. Or if you like to marinate the grinds a little bit, go 5 minutes. The
Okay.
temperature of the
So the
water.
longer you let it stay, the richer I'm sure it's going to be, or
Yeah.
stronger.
Well, I'd say the richer,
The
is
richer.
what it was. And so, of course, I come back and I bought, a French press for here, French press for the shop. I was in love with French presses. So,
Oh
needless to
my
say, I
God.
kind of go overboard. It's like technology. Give me, I'm not buying one laptop. I'm buying five. No. So,
Too cool. Jim Masella, who just joined us. Jim, we did talk about EVs, but at what point do you think we'll start seeing more EVs in the aftermarket? I think it's an interesting question. And what I think about, Greg, is that where the government comes up and says, by this date, we can't, or you won't, or, we will.
uh,
And I think those dates I almost think that quality and technology it just should catch on. Who should say at what date I should or shouldn't start or stop wearing a tie?
right, right.
Right.
I tell me, you're right. You're right. I mean, I don't think mandates are the answer. I think that they're negative to individuals. And as far as when we start to see penetration in EVs, I think it's going to depend upon the marketplace that you're in. Your coastal cities will probably be more prominent than your Midwestern areas or the central of the country. The biggest thing is going to be, and it's the infrastructure on charging. Either there has to be new technology, and there probably is, like battery life, battery construction, different technology that makes up the battery, um, longer lasting 400 or 500 miles. Um, that will have to come into play before adoption can increase. Charging at home is such a huge barrier because you're trying to you don't want to get up in the middle of the night and say, hey, I got to go to my convenience store or a central location to charge my car up in order for me to do something. I don't want to be on the road with the kids screaming. I don't want to miss a business meeting, yet my charge rate is down. I have to find a spot to do. I think another big factor, and this happened this year. If you look at what happened to EVs in Chicago during that hell of a ice storm or a cold snap that even you experienced in Buffalo,
Yeah.
what did the cars do? They lost range, frozen locks, stalling. A lot of things went negative on the EVs. Well, that's something is that a challenge for that market? Of course it is. I just don't think that the adoption rate, we may peak at 10%, but at that level, I believe that you'll see, like we talked about, the hybrids will be more of a common thing that we'll see in the shops before
Yeah.
we see a total EV situation.
I am not. I'd buy an EV. I just
Hmm.
would. I'm not necessarily ready, but when I think about, I would probably not get rid of one of my gas vehicles, and
No,
or if
no,
I
I
had a
wouldn't.
hybrid. I don't know if I would completely today rely
Hmm.
on an EV, that I would need a vehicle instantly. I mean, all of a sudden, bam, you got to go, you go, and you didn't charge. I mean, I guess my whole routine would have to be changed to be sure that I had enough, electricity.
Well, it's one more thing to be prepared for. Instead of thinking about stopping at the gas station, you have to think about, well, I need to charge my vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching my sister because she has her EV. She bought the thing. She has it. She loves it. She had to put a charging station at the house, a 220 outlet. The adapters and everything that goes with it. And she seems to be fine with it. So fine. And I had a Lightning on order, and until they started increasing the price to way out of my range. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, it was out of my range. I
I
was not
remember
going to.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was not going to pay 30,000 more than what I thought the
What?
truck was going to. Yeah, it went from 59 to 89 because
What?
yeah, it did. It really did. I had the XLT, option
They
to
didn't lock
option.
you in on the price?
Oh no, 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 they didn't do that. I mean, I have a 2017 XLT with a 5-liter Coyote, and I love it. I mean, it has everything. It has what I need and nothing more. And I kind of wanted to order the EV with the same options, and I thought I did a fairly good job. There were some little differences, but I think the price point was 55 or 50, yeah, 55,000 was what I put my order in for. Well, over the course of 2.5 years and delays, I kept getting, "Oh, you're ready to order. We're going to get you ready to order." And I think it was June of 23. Mr. Buckley, you're ready to order. In the meantime, prior to that, I kept getting notices about, well, your increase is here, and then all of a sudden, Mr. Buckley, you're eligible for $77,000 in Ford financing. And I go, what? I said that was a trigger when they started offering me what double or not double, but 20,000 more than what the truck would be. I said something's up. And then sure as hell, when I went to go place the order, I looked at my option sheet and my request, and boom, it was like $89,000. I said, that's it. I said, not a shot. So, I relinquished everything and gave the order up.
I'd have to say you were pretty smart.
Yeah, yeah, I was going to do that. I really thought about trading in the 2017. 'Cause I really don't need 2 trucks, and I thought, well, the 17's paid for. What the hell do I want to go jump into another payment for? So, you know, I'll stick with what I got until I absolutely
All
need it,
right.
want it, or have to have it.
Learn anything in January that'll help you in February?
I've been learning a lot more on the personal side with humility and
Yeah,
controlling
let's talk
emotion
about
and
that.
all.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that. You're
sure.
you're and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I saw you
No.
did a
Mhm,
big post yesterday.
mhm.
Greg's dealing with a lot of personal issues. I don't mean to belabor this fun little
No.
discussion that we're having here. When I hear you talk about it, I relate to what Ann went through with her mom,
Mhm.
and it was really tough in the fact that it's difficult to see a parent talk to you in ways that you just don't expect, and until you start realizing it's not necessarily all them speaking to you, but it's still
Right.
tough to overcome.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a heck of a journey, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the journey. I appreciate the experiences. Having grown up with a young family, young parents, you get to see what you experience what their life is about, and now you see them in their, you know, I don't want to say final stages, but you have to say to yourself, it's not going this way, it's going to go that way. The 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 thing is that your emotions are totally all over the place, and you have to be able to recognize that whatever they do, they don't know they're doing it. And so that's been my difficult part, is really the, having to understand that they are not in their right mind. They're not physically, in shape. They're not capable of doing the things that you would. What do you mean you can't do that? What do you mean you can't get up? What do you mean you can't do this? And this week, it was Monday where I had to walk out of the room because I was absolutely out of my mind with anger. And that's why I wrote what I wrote, is that, you know, you can't just display that. You can't let that out. And you have to learn to mitigate that emotion in some other manner, and you walk away and you feel guilty as hell, and it just really overcomes you. I mean, it then becomes your problem because you did what you did, and it's not good. So, yet it's still a natural response because you can't help, they won't listen, they can't help themselves, and all you do is wonder why, and you get to be very frustrated. And the thing is that I want to say this, is that I have enjoyed journaling because this is what it is for me. It's as relief as journaling. But I have found out, and I've gotten message privately and all over, that they're encouraging me to talk more about it because it needs to be talked about as a small business person who is dealing with not only family but businesses, locations, and all that. It's honest discussion about how we who are managing these operations and managing family, how we're getting through it. And, don't be afraid to open up about it, because it
Yeah.
really is, it's life. It's total life. So,
Yeah, when you go through it yourself and you end up with empathy to the situation,
mhm,
and we have this huge industry with all these work families,
mhm,
and everyone has a story. Everyone, no matter what level, how deep, how wide. In your particular case, you're going through the dementia piece,
mm,
and how that individual acts and treats. Think about the people who work for you that may be there someday, and instead of discounting it and seeing their work fail, they're not contributing like they should because the weight of this situation is so heavy upon them.
yeah.
And I guess it's good to hear from you and to realize, if ever someday you get there, this is how you can learn to deal with it, because someone that has been there and done that. And I think it helps you help other people.
Well, you bring up a really good point, because as transparent as I've been to our audience and the audiences that I have socially on social networks, I'm also as transparent to my teams, letting them know exactly what I'm going through and everything that's involved. And the reason I do that is because, one, I don't want them wondering where I'm at and what I'm doing and why I may not be responsive. And at the same time, I'm really teaching them the same things. I said, if you're looking at what I'm doing, I'm sharing with you what I do, because, like you said, at some point you may have been there, and I may ask you, what did you do? Or I'm showing you what I'm doing in order to, manage this whole situation. And believe me, I cannot say enough that both teams have been amazing. We just had 2 great weeks at the both locations, and I was not present at all week down at shop number 2. So it's important that we do share this out. We cannot be siloed. And I want to take a perspective that I don't mean to isolate women in our field, but I think that there's something critical for men, that we don't share this stuff enough. We don't let it out. We don't have that shoulder. We don't look for that shoulder, or we're afraid to lean on that shoulder, or we're afraid to uh, have somebody be that ear that we need. And I think that, I'm hoping that what you see, what I'm doing as a relief for myself, is that guys we can talk about this. In fact,
Yeah.
at today's, I have we talked about a Saturday breakfast I do once a month with my friends. Um, one of the one of my guys, one of my friends came up and said, "Hey, man, you put that thing on LinkedIn, and I got to tell you, man, I really appreciate that." And I go, "Hey, thank you." But it's important that we start to open up with this stuff as we start to get older, because look, man, we've got a lot of things that we're carrying around.
Look at, I love what you just said. And my reaction to that is, as men in our industry, we
Hmm.
feel we have to have every answer. We have to be stoic. And the stuff that Greg is talking about and writing about over his own personal experience, don't block it out. Don't block out the emotions that you hear from people and the struggles that you get. Give yourself time to hear and to learn from it.
Hmm.
And if you have to go hide in the corner to listen or to watch, then do it. But just don't think that this stuff affects you. And I think in life, we've always been trying. I always wanted to be the guy who knew everything until I started to ask the stupid questions. What the
Hmm.
hell is that? What's that acronym really mean? And I don't
Yeah.
understand what you just said. And finding out that almost 60% of the 70% of the people in the same meeting that I was in wanted to ask that same question. And why walk away in an environment where everyone is assuming you
Right.
feel, you got it.
Right.
And I think we have that persona that we're the toughest and the smartest.
Well,
Just let that go.
you really have to. Your Superman cape uh, it comes out every.
Oh my God. Yeah.
it starts to fade every once in a while, but that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna come off one day, um,
And it
and you
shouldn't
need
come
to.
off hard. It should come off easy.
Right.
That's our point here. Is that
Yeah. Yeah.
is don't you just don't want to hit a brick wall. All
Not at
right.
all.
Hey, thank you for that. Let's
Mhm.
move to a different topic, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing that up. I was just recently talking to a few people, and I made this word to them about our kind of an interesting part of the industry. I says, "COVID's over." That's what I said.
COVID's
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 over.
over. Yeah.
COVID's over. How are you going to run your business now? And don't tell me you're going to go back to the way it was in 2020, 2021. COVID's over. Are you going to
Hmm.
take a different approach, different tact? What's changed in your market? You agree? I mean, we
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
COVID's
Absolutely.
over,
Mhm.
but we cannot keep doing business that way.
No, we're not. We don't have. No one's having the volume that they had before. No one's having the same reactions from the clients that they had before. Um, I think what is happening is we are returning to a more normal base situation. I think that, speaking for myself, I mean, did I get lax on marketing because we were so fat already? Yeah. I mean, I let things slip a little bit. I should have been more on point, at least for store number one. Um, so we got to get back into the groove and get back out to the public, and we have to show our faces. We got to go back to traditional things that we used to be on. The saving grace is that during this period of COVID, I think there was a lot of attrition by guys getting knocked out, consolidation, and guys retiring. So it's kept the volume. It's kept volume available to those that are still producing high quality results for their clients, and also being accessible and having those rooted processes and systems in place that they're attracting what is now available. So I think we got about another year uh, of elevated uh, results. I think in the next after 25 or 20, in the middle of 2025, I think we'll start to see more people get out of their 10, 12, 15-year-old vehicles and start to jump into something newer. So we got a little bit of ride left.
Got it. Very wise. Very wise. Thank you so much. There was a comment from Jim Masella. Let me see. Let me bring that up from
Hmm.
Jim. To Greg, your location being over 80 miles away, how often is their situation where you need to go to the on a short notice. My locations are a quarter of a mile away, but looking at 1 hour, OMG.
Okay. Yeah, Jim, I'll tell you what, during the first 6 months of that, my short notices were almost like daily. Um, Again, my saving grace is that I have a place to stay right above the shop. So it I could make it a day and a half. I could sleep overnight. I could run
You have
back
a
to
go
Wilmington.
bag.
I had to go back, right, living out of a suitcase, and that made it palatable. But I will tell you that your ramp up um, is the first 6 months, and I have another friend, a shop owner, Sean Miller, who's opening one up about an hour away from his original, and he asked me what I went through. I said, enjoy the ride time, use it for your own sanity. It's either, listen to a favorite podcast. Remarkable Results is one I would really recommend. But there's also good music that you can listen to, and then you take that and you meditate through and get your act together in between locations. Um, the only caveat to that is make sure that the second team is of you make you make yourself available to them instantly, meaning that as they call, even if you're driving, as they take the call, take the text, do a response. If you need to relieve yourself of that obligation, make sure that you have a manager at number one who is you have told them that they are to handle the calls coming in. And that is what we have done with my son, who manages the sales team. If it's a technical question, the technicians at two can rely on the techs at number one, not to babysit, not to give them answers, but to give them instructions on what would you do, or give me a resource I can look for. So the first 6 months of number two was, you know, strained. And as an owner, depending on all this as an outcome, um, you need to watch your staff's time, vacation time. When it was January of last year, where we already had vacation time planned for team members from number one, and at the same time, number two was asking for time off. So we really had two operations with limited staffing, which meant I was up and back, down. I was all over the place, and that became very stressful. That
I
stress led
can't
to a lot of
imagine. Wow.
yeah. I mean, but this is really what goes on, and you damn well be determined that you're going to take control of that the best you can in order to protect your own health. It's
Boy,
not
I've been in that.
easy.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
Greg,
know
I've
what
been
it
in that
is. Yeah.
situation before where here comes summertime.
Hmm.
I was in a growth spurt, and I realized that my people's vacation time off life had to had to keep going while I was
Hmm.
in growth mode, doing some other things and hiring other people. And you cannot sacrifice some certain things for your people's best interests.
Right.
I
You really, and
yeah.
it's for yourself. Let me make it a point that you can do everything you need for your team, and I feel that we take very good care of our techs, our whole team. They're wonderful, and I do everything I can for them and make sure that they are satisfied by all means. But at some point, you have to worry about yourself. And Jim, I could tell you that stress will grab you if you're not prepared. And make sure that your health is good, and stay the course, but
Got
understand
it.
that you still have to come first.
All right. You are with Coffee with Carm and Greg, and we're going to give a coffee mug away. And if you're with us and you did type in the word coffee in the chat, this is the mug we're going to give you, and we're going to actually
Yeah,
have a
I'll put my
drawing.
mug down.
We're gonna do a drawing right now, and I'm going to show you how cool this is. Only 6 of you out there have invested in this thing, but I'm going to show you how this works. I'm adding this, and now I'm going to hit draw, and I'm going to see who wins all of this. And it
This is
happens
cool.
to be Who is it? It's Gearbox
Oh,
Podcast. Look at that. How cool is that? All right. Well, he of course is a member of our community, and
mhm.
we'll reach out and send him our mug. How neat is that?
Congratulations, hey,
Isn't that
man.
cool how that
That's
works, huh?
great. That's great.
And it's on the up and up. It's nothing that I had to do.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go draw something. So yeah, this was great. I hope to do this with friends inside the industry, and maybe Greg come back again, and we'll do another coffee with Carm. And I really should try to stretch my coffee thing, and I should probably buy a French press and figure out how all that works. It's just a little bit more work than a Keurig, right?
Yeah, it's yeah, it's a lot more work than a Keurig. you
Oh
know,
my God.
you would need to see with the French press. You need three. You should have three call them appliances or three devices. I don't. Okay, you got the kettle, got a hot water
You
kettle.
got to have hot water,
All right. Okay. Then the press,
then the press.
and then if you're going to keep the coffee longer than a few cups, you need a thermos to pour them.
To keep what you got warm.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
not, it's I see.
right.
Do-
So there's a lot of work there.
Are there any electric French presses or not? Is it
Oh,
just
no, no,
no? You don't
no,
plug them in. All right, just checking.
no.
Okay, so hot water.
You're making coffee too complicated.
Yeah, no,
You know
just wait a minute.
what happened to the thing on the stove top and the percolator?
Oh my God, yes, the stovetop and the that was that aluminum, and
Yeah,
we
best
have
coffee in the world.
so go back. I mean, that's what it's been so interesting lately to go back and to think about how we did things in the early days.
Yeah,
And I have so many memories of Christmas Eve and black and white TV, and and the percolating pot on the coffee, and they seem to always make 8 cups no matter what. No one made anything less. And somebody would come over and say, "Hey, you want coffee?" So if there was only 3 people, they still made 8.
hmm
And
yeah.
just and I don't know if it's fun to think that stuff, to bring childhood memories back. Is it just that I'm just getting, I don't know, warm and fuzzy and emotional the older I get? I don't know, but you start thinking about
I,
the growing up with the parents, and the situation that you're currently in, and remembering all that stuff, and then it's taking you back all those years, Greg. That
well,
that's that's
that
so.
it does, and one of the things with cure, and not to go back and criticize on the Keurig, yeah, to each their own,
You're
to
pounding
each their
me.
own, my friend.
He's pounding me.
But you don't get that aroma of coffee filling the room, and clearly in our household it was coffee and cigarettes that my parents would have, that their morning ritual, and you would smell. Honestly, even right now as we're talking, I could tell you that you had coffee, you had cigarettes, and you had aftershave, and all those elements were
Oh
right
my
from my dad.
God.
No,
Old
I'm serious.
Spice. Old
Well, it
Spice.
was Aqua Velva. Aqua
Okay.
Velva was my dad's, and I still have a bottle of it myself. A little
No.
splash here and there. Swear to God, swear to God. But that's the kind of stuff that brings in the memories,
Oh,
and um, it 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 enhanced the last week, the prior week, with me and my dad being together for 2 full days in his room at the hospital, where I was there in the morning. It was coffee, donuts, no cigarettes, of course. No, that's out the window. Been going for a while. Coffee and donuts, newspaper, and good talk. And I'm watching, and I'm listening to Dad and Dad's stories and his unreality stories, which were funny as, I mean, when you look up at the roof, and he's calling cell antennas statues, and he's warning them that they're going to jump off the thing. And then the other thing was, he'll come to me and he said, you know hey, Greg, did you know that last week, or a couple weeks ago, I was in Europe? Yeah, I was on this this mission or something. I had to meet some agent. And he goes, well, the company paid for it, didn't you know that? I mean, my company was paying for it. Dad. So, and it was,
Hey,
it was
the
my,
company paid my way to Europe. And
I go to,
so Greg, what do
yeah,
you say? Yes, Dad. I mean, you can't argue with him
you
because
can't argue.
he's
No, you just
right.
go along with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just, filter it down. And then the, I'll say this, but the funniest one, this happened 2 weeks ago. The first time on a Friday, he didn't know who I was. He squarely looked at me and he didn't know who I was. And he asked me, because, well, why is your mom calling you? She doesn't know you. That was a serious moment. That got me and said, wow, all right, we're now here. I came back Saturday and he goes, hey, Greg, I didn't know I had a second son named Greg. I never met the woman, and I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, this is, he goes,
It's got I don't know how it's so tough.
it is, but it's these moments where you capture them and you bring them in and you have to take it in stride, and roll with it and understand the situation. Um, they're memories, no matter how you classify them as being, negative or positive. I look at it like it's an entertaining moment for us, for him and I, and I'll always remember that as being funny, although we know the reality is that it's sad, but it's like anything else. You learn to live with it. So
Yeah.
this
All
is all
right.
the stuff that goes on. But anyway,
All right. Well, well
more
said.
happier stuff.
Thank you. We feel for the things you're going through, and I guess we're happy the fact that you're willing to share it to help people that will ever be in that situation again.
Good.
Listen, my friend, thank you so much.
Thank
Coffee with
you.
Carm here on this particular Saturday. I think we learned a lot. We had some fun,
Yeah,
and
thank the audience and all the people out there.
yeah, yeah. And by the way, thank you all for teasing me about my Keurig. But anyway, I'll have to get a French press and report back.
Wait. So we have Keurig, we have French press, and you've never been to Italy and you're Italian.
All right.
That's good.
You're pounding the shit out of me, man. I just can't believe
I
this.
love you,
All right.
man. I love you.
What are
I
friends
wouldn't.
for?
That's
Thank
right.
you. See you,
All
bud.
right, man. Take care.